Team, a warm welcome to the Professional Human, sponsored by Anywhere Auctions. Hello, gang. It's Reedy here, your professional human for the real estate industry, and hopefully, maybe a little bit beyond. Who knows? Team, I've got a relatively awkward conversation that I want to have with you lot and one that isn't coming out of me easily because of the level of upset, anxiety, just lots of negative like sort of energies and emotions around this particular topic, and it's something that's come out in the last couple of days, all around the topic of racism, and I really want to delve into that and speak on behalf of reason on both sides of the fence tonight, because I've got friends that have been upset and offended, that I work with on a weekly basis and I speak to daily, and are just some of the coolest people that I've ever met in my life. And there are some on the other side of the fence, one person in particular who is a good friend of mine and has just been absolutely hammered by as a result of what was very simply a mistake on his part. But gang, before I crack on, I'm not going to break tradition. I want to find out how you guys are out of 10 first and foremost. All right, I want to check you guys out as well. Now, forgive me for not looking anywhere near as intelligent tonight. Believe it or not, I actually went for a run. I have looking to tackle my physical fitness a little bit by little bit every day, and hopefully that will culminate in a much greater outcome than what I have been doing in the past, which is setting some ridiculous goal and then making myself feel shit because I keep letting myself down with it. So I'm just focusing on incremental change, incremental improvements every single day, going down the Dave Brailsford sort of strategy here, law of incremental change, and hopefully that will create some outcomes. Gang, let me know how you're getting on out of 10. Phil, good to see you, mate. Craig, solid 8.5 for me. Mate, mine turned from an 8.5 to a 9 just by connecting with you over the phone today. I'll tell you that now. Linda, lovely to see you. Have you got that pink hammer yet? I reckon I might buy you one. 8, dealing with kids going to bed. Mate, one of the reasons why I was a few minutes late, because I just had to do exactly the same thing, my friend. That's why I do them at 9 o'clock on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday night, because it's the only time I can bloody well commit to be honest, when you've got 2 young kids, mate. I'm sure you'll appreciate the challenges with that yourself too, especially now with the new arrival and whatnot. So congratulations to you there. Team, give us some scores on the doors as I crack on with the topic of today's conversation. I don't want to muck around too much. Mate, Craig, you might want to be careful how you ask that and who you ask that to, mate. It might go down wonderfully well with some people. I mean, you're not a bad looking rooster, mate, to be honest. But it might get taken slightly differently. Anyway, team. A really shitty situation reared its ugly head over the course of the last couple of days, and I want to have the courage, balls. I want to really address a few huge elephants in the room around this entire topic, because it's honestly made me feel a bit sick. To be perfectly frank, it's made me feel awful in certain ways from both sides of the equation. I'm sure that a lot of people are aware of the situation that I'm talking about, but without naming names or bringing people into the frame or anything like that, it was basically a huge storm erupted as a result of what was perceived to be a racist comment made by someone who has got so much respect in the industry, and I've got no harm in saying is a friend of mine. And I honestly, in terms of how the events panned out, from how I saw it, I just saw an agent that I do auctions for, and is a fab little human in her own right. She posted a screenshot that she must have got from somewhere or someone, sorry, and expressed her anger at the post that was made and shared as a screenshot. Right now, this agent colleague friend of mine, and she's a good chick. She and I don't want to beat around the bush here, right? She's a Chinese descent, and she's gone. She's really got her back up about what was said, because the whole comment was around. For those that aren't aware, it was around someone saying that they are trying to they wanted to buy Australian based products for a gym, and unfortunately the sentence came out as I want to try and avoid Chinese products if I can. And look, if I was Chinese, then I'd probably be a bit shitty about it as well, to be honest, right? Because the way that it looks at face value, um, you know, yeah, it would look shit if I was of that origin, of that orientation, that descent, right? Um, and I just thought I'd seen a screenshot, and I thought, right, let's try and see if we can nip this thing in the bud, because the guy concerned, like I said, he's a friend of mine, and I have a hell of a lot of respect for him in the industry as a human being. All of the above. We've done charity work together. We've done charity auctions together, and I've got to know him pretty well as a human being. We DM each other fairly regularly, and message each other fairly regularly just to check in and whatnot, because of our similarities around mental health and things like that. Similar journeys that we've been on, and I didn't realize that it had already blown up significantly. Right, it had blown up tremendously. And I'm saying that in a bad sense, obviously. And I thought that it was a social media. I thought it was a Facebook based thing, and whatnot. And I didn't think a hell of a lot much more of it, other than, well, yeah, that's not ideal for both sides there, really. But then it was brought to my attention by my partner in crime at the Century 21 network, and she knows who she is, as to a lot of the hammering that was getting taken on this individual's business Google page, right? And so I had a look, and far out, it had just gone absolutely bananas with respect to the upset and the anguish that it had caused a lot of people that are Chinese, right, or that are of Chinese descent. And I get it, right? Like I said, I saw a few agents post the screenshot that I work with, and some that I have actually become good friends with myself. I've done auction work for. The majority of my auction company is operated through and hired by those whose English isn't their first language, right? And I think it's been an amazing trip, getting to know these people, get to know their cultures, and having like moments every now and then to just find out bits of information about how they rock and roll, and from a cultural point of view, and share tea with them, and share dinner with them, share food, share drinks with them. And it's been amazing. It's been a really, really cool experience for me in terms of the auction side of things, right? And what it also brought to my attention in terms of the Google stuff, especially, was a real shitty underbelly to the industry that I really want to call out and single out, and really go for the people that are just fucking arseholes in our industry. Now, like I said there, look, for me, racism is ridiculously weak. It's born out of inadequacy. And this was interesting, right? When I first came over to Australia, Like me coming from the UK, you know, having friends of all sorts of different, you know, colours and creeds and orientations and you name it. Having friends whose parents were, you know, obviously over in the UK, a few of my mates were of Indian descent. So went over to their houses and, you know, learn how to make curries better and all that. So I've got an interest in making curry, right? Because I fucking love the stuff. And you know, so for me, multiculturalism was just part of the course, right? It's just what I was brought up with. When I moved over here, you know, it wasn't nice, and it was a bit uncomfortable for me to sort of notice that and again, I don't think that I'm making complete holistic dispersions over any one particular race or culture or whatever. But it was a slightly uncomfortable sort of realization for me when I first came over here that in terms of cultural integration, and this is how I've been sort of explaining it to people back home and whatnot, I do feel that you know, Australia, and this is generally speaking, right? So don't fucking take shots at me. But I just feel that Australia is perhaps a couple of generations behind naturally, because there is a hell of a lot of first generation immigrants that are moving over here. Whereas in England, like there's like 3-4 generations down a track, right? With the Afro-Caribbean, with the Indian heritage and whatnot, Pakistanis, you know, all those sorts of people, right? And because Australia is such a young country, right? Because Australia is such a young country, it's still getting used to that shit, right? And you know, and that's where you're seeing, you know, equality coming through with regards to Aboriginal culture and all that, which again has been a fascinating little topic for me to dig into a bit more. And it is starting to, you know, come together, and the young sort of tapestry that is Australia is starting to come together, and yeah, and then it really reared its ugly head yesterday because essentially, and I'm saying this openly, right? I know for a fact that some of my Chinese friends, colleagues, whatnot, who do cop so much grief from a racism point of view at various points, right? I've been privy to it. I have physically stood in the way of racism and protected Chinese agents whilst people have physically been verbally, you know, been right in their faces, abusing them for their nationality, right? And you can ask me who offline if you want, and I can let you know. Like I've got a number of examples, both with the Chinese, with Indians, because I can't abide by it, right? I can't abide by it. It just does me in. I'm open, right? Because at the end of the day, arseholes come in all shapes and sizes, right? Arseholes come in all sorts of colours and whatnot. And worryingly, that's how I taught my daughter about racism as well. Anyway, but I can't abide by ignorance. I really can't. And you know, one particular example in Nunawading, where an auction was held up for 35 minutes because this one woman was just, you know, just the scum of the earth, and really, I really detest. Like she was that incensed and enraged with her narrow-minded beliefs. At one stage, she called me yellow. And I sort of had to check myself in the mirror just to make sure that I was still a white Caucasian, just in case. Like she just thought everybody was against her, right? From a racial point of view. No, darling, you were just a fucking ignorant arsehole, and you do not deserve to be on this planet, let alone this country. And that's eventually what I ended up having to say to her. Now, gang, racism is just not on. It's not. And I understand how some of my friends and colleagues and counterparts did get a bit offended and a bit upset by what was said from a face value point of view. Okay. And I'm going to talk to both sides because I do have a feeling about both sides on this, right? Because of my personal connections on both sides. And I get the angst around it, because I'm sure it would have been, one of God knows how many scenarios, situations, comments, whatever the case may be, that perhaps resulted in this sort of explosion, right? So I get it. I do. Now, on the other side, like I said, gang, I'm not going to hide the fact that this individual in question is a friend of mine. And I consider him to be a good friend of mine within the space. I confide in him. He confides in me, with respect to mental health, well-being, all that sort of business, all that sort of stuff. And we've done charity work together, right? And before anybody has a crack at the little subtitle that I'll put on there about a simple mistake, give me a second. We've done charity auctions together where he has put together men's mental health nights and brought so much awareness towards mental health within the real estate industry. That's probably why I gravitated towards him in the first place. And we shared a stage. We've had some laughs in front of the men, in front of like 150 or 180 men or whatever it was, of all shapes and colours and sizes and creeds and ages and orientations and you name it. It was a real smorgasbord of cultural, of ethnicity and all that sort of stuff. And we had a right fucking laugh as well, and raised so much money and awareness, and it was a bit of a breakthrough for me personally, actually, as well that night, which I appreciated. When I saw it, the first thing that I felt, honestly, was like, oh shit, oh, bollocks, he slipped up a little bit there. But not at one point, not at one single point, moment in time, did it ever occur to me that this guy was openly being racist and attacking the Chinese population and culture and heritage, or whatever you want to call it, at the end of that. I texted him as soon as I saw it, and I was like, mate, you might want to nip this one in the bud and correct yourself there. And the reply that he said to me, because I didn't realize how long it'd been sort of storming and brewing and whatnot at the time, he sort of sent me a message, and he was really sort of dejected. He said, look, man, it's just gone too far. It was a stupid mistake, but all I wanted to do was support local businesses and spend money on local businesses. That's all I wanted to do. And if you have a look over the journey of his social media, particularly this year, you will see countless posts, especially on his Instagram and whatnot, of him openly supporting local businesses, whether it's cafes, whether it's, manufacturers, whatever the case may be. He's openly been doing that. All right. So I knew that it was more of a case of him wanting to support local, which I've spoken to a couple of my Chinese friends, and they're like, Andy, we totally fucking understand that. We totally get that. And absolutely, absolutely, we need to be supporting local businesses and local production and local manufacturers and whatnot, because the product in question was about some barbells, right? Or barbells or dumbbells, some sort of gym equipment. And he wanted to buy local so he could support local. And I'll repeat, the couple of my Chinese friends that I've spoken to, client counterparts I've spoken to, completely understand the motivation behind that, and they do not see that in any way, shape, or form as an act of racism in any way. At the end of the day, local business owners need to fucking well get around each other, and we perhaps need to do it even more so than what we are doing now, because the online shopping click culture is just making it that little bit sort of hazy in terms of the attention that we need to give to local business, because we can't get to them right half the time. And fuck, it's genuinely making my stomach turn when I'm seeing the progression, the progressive aggression towards this guy who I know, because we've shared some personal shit with each other, right? I know that that was never his intention to be racist in any way, shape, or form. I just know that. And apparently, right, and this is segueing me into my next thing that I want to talk about. Apparently, there's some message kicking around, right? There's some message kicking around that's been screenshotted and sent out. Two things with that. One, it's complete bullshit. It's a made up thing. But two, why the fuck? Even if he was a fucking racist, right? Even if he was, do you honestly think that whoever he sent that message to would have screenshot it and then just added fuel to the fire? Do you honestly think that that would ever happen? Do you seriously think, right, that he would have sent a message of a racist nature to someone that he felt would just go and then spread it out to the ether? It makes no fucking sense, that bit. None. Zero. 0 cents. Okay. Now here's the one that I really want to talk about and highlight, right? Because realistically, in terms of the two sides of this absolute fucking shitstorm, I understand the anguish and the upset that posts like that cause to different cultural groups. I get it. All right. I feel it. I sense it, especially because I'm friends. I've pretty much got Forrest Gump's box of chocolates in my fucking telephone, right? Every single flavor is in my phone on a personal friendship basis, right? I just do. I came from a hospitality game, right? I was the token English guy. So if I was a fucking racist, I'd be really in trouble, right? I would have probably not made it out of London, to be perfectly honest. And in my previous life, I have sacked an entire security team from a venue because of racism. Sacked the entire team because of the drama that it caused between me and a group of black friends that had come to my venue to actually have a party, and they were fucking awesome. They were so much fun. And then one of the doormen said something racist to him, and quite rightly, shit hit the fan. It was a whirlwind of chaos, and I nearly got glassed. I was this close, literally, and you can see, and it's on camera, this close to getting glassed as a result of that fucking idiot's racism, right? So I've been threatened off the back of someone else being a prick, right? So I've been in this. I've sensed this. I've felt it. I've experienced it, right? But there's one thing that, you lot all know, right? I'm a very cup half full type of guy. I'm a very positive, very not positive, but like constructive positivity, practical positivity, real shit that you lot can grab a hold of my coattails and fucking run with it, right? That's what I'm here for. But one of the few things where I'm just going to fucking get my gun out and go both barrels on is this. Where is it? Oh shit. Where's it gone? Excuse me, 2 seconds. I've just had a bit of a fail. The dark underbelly of the industry. The opportunism of certain people's actions from within the industry. The hyena-like behavior from within the industry, from certain parts of the industry. irrespective of how you feel on whichever side you're on, if you are on a side, I'm trying, and I want to be Switzerland in this regard. That's why I want to be reason in this whole thing. But the thing that I cannot abide, and the thing out of all of this that really makes me want to go to town on some people, is the vulture like behavior that has come from the direct competitors, some of the direct competitors of this individual. That, in essence, is one of the inherent issues of our entire fucking game. And it's one of the inherent things, the horrible, dirty undercurrent of our industry, where in certain cases, people will do fucking anything to make a dollar and just not have any regard whatsoever for the humans on both sides of the fence. That fucking hyena, like Brett's just mentioned there, that hyena mentality, that vulture behavior needs to be fucking well called out in our game. So I'm not fucking having it. I'm not standing for it. I will not be a part of an industry that allows that to continue to happen. No way. I'll be the fucking loudest person on the planet about this. If it continues on, I will start to call people out, because I will not have our industry besmirched by fucking scumbags who see an opportunity to kick a guy while he's down and try and make business off the back of it. Get the fuck out of my industry. There's a few of those Google reviews, right? And I didn't realize, like I said, this was a couple of nights ago when I didn't realize the severity of what was going on. And my wife, Flick, had a quick look at it. And she went, fuck me. And I went, what? And she goes, Andy, there's another agency that's posted a negative, like a 1-star negative review. This is an official agency Google account, office Google account, says it plain as day. That turns around and says, we're not like this racist. We'll look after our entire community. Now, in what way, shape, or form is that appropriate? And more to the point, because this was the first comment that we made, both Flick and I. Fuck, how bad does that make them look? If anything, those hyenas in our game, they are worse. They are worse than almost anybody else in the industry. I'm done with them. They are the people that have that thing within their DNA where it's at all costs, and it's not a case of at all costs for their clients. Fuck no. They'll try and pretend it is, but it's not. It's at all costs. I need to make sure that my bank account's looking shit up, and I don't give a fuck what collateral damage is caused. It's those type of people that will stop at nothing to get a deal done, including fucking over both vendor and buyer. Like, seriously. The guy has inadvertently caused himself, his own mental health, his family, his financial, mental, physical, spiritual well-being enough damage through a slip of the thumb that he had zero intention of showing any degree of malice. And you pricks want to dance on his grave. Have a look at yourselves. Take a fucking hard look at yourselves in the mirror. And if you know who you are, and if you know that I'm talking about you, seriously consider your position in the industry. Because one of the silver linings of all of the shit that's been going on over the last 18 months, right? This pandemic nonsense, right? Because we can't say the C word on this channel. 2 C words. What that has done is given some of the good people in this industry a louder voice, right? There are some incredible human beings in our industry. No, I won't say at least one C word, Chris. There are some incredible human beings in our industry, and they're all starting to get louder. They're all starting to make more noise. They're all starting to get some more confidence. They're all starting, right? They're all starting to break through this tall poppy syndrome shit that goes on in our game. They're starting to get past those fucking hyenas that love nothing more than to just drag people down. They've got nothing fucking better to do with their lives. They've not got enough going on in their own lane that they have to try and trip up people that are in other lanes. We're getting louder. The good people are getting louder. The ones that don't want to do right by people are getting louder. And for you lot, you hyenas, you vultures, whose only tactic to make money is pick off the carcass of those who you can't compete with, you're on notice. Officially. You won't see me get this serious that often, gang. But I'm telling you, when I do, fucking well mean it. The guy in question did not deserve the amount, literally the decimation of a business, of his livelihood that he worked over decades to build. And do you not fucking well think over that journey he has dealt with every single shape, color, creed, size, orientation, heritage, culture, religion? Do you not think he's dealt with every single one of them and enjoyed their company? It was a simple mistake. Now, if he was an arsehole, I'd call him out for being an arsehole, right? I would. You lot know that. I'm about as transparent as it gets, gang. Right? It's just simply not the case in this instance. And it's really sad. So, team, I want to leave you with a quote, right? Because in terms of the people that are important in this whole drama, I'm not talking about the pricks that I've just fucking got on, that I've just got angry about, right? Fuck them off. Get them out of the channel now. I'm only talking about the two sides that really matter in this entire debate. I want to leave you with this quote, and hopefully some of you might have a think about this and ruminate over this, because the counter reaction that's come off the back of a lot of this drama is, it's getting close to causing a serious rip in the industry, and we need to bring it back together, because none of us can work without the other ones, whether you're black, white, Chinese, Indian, Afghan, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, whoever the fuck you are. We're a human game. We all need each other. Whether we like it or not, we all need each other. Simple as that. So I just want to leave you with this one quote from the late, great, obviously, Martin Luther King. I can't profess to know everything about this guy, but some of the stuff that he says makes me understand why so many people respected him. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Team, I understand. I can't claim to empathize because I am a tall, white, English speaking guy, right? So I can't be fucking daft enough to say that I totally get and I empathize with those that are classified as a minority group, right? I won't ever profess to that. But knowing as many as I do and enjoying the company of as many as I do, the one thing I will say, gang, we all laugh the same, we all cry the same, we all bleed the same, colour of the blood's exactly the same. And like I said to my 7-year-old, who was 6 at the time, and I perhaps should review my life lessons to my daughter, in all fairness, arseholes come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all sizes and colours, right? But at the end of the day, an arsehole is an arsehole. Doesn't matter what the DNA is. All right? So let's just bring some love and some light to what has been a fucking shit storm over the last couple of days within the industry. Please. Pete, I completely understand. Now, this is one of the guys, Pete Brewer. This is one of the individuals that I'm talking about in terms of getting loud. I mean, the fuck me, he's loud enough as it is, right? And that's just his jacket, right? That's just his array of loud jackets. But in terms of scale, this guy is one of the godfathers of the game, in my opinion, Peter Brewer. We need to show love to both sides that have been affected. To my friends on the side that were offended by the post, by the comment, right? It was in the private gym Facebook group or whatever it was. Racism's fucking shit. And it's just it is. But the more that we can show racists that it doesn't affect the way that you deal with people of every color and creed, it's the only way to win. And for my friend on the other side of this that I've not spoken to, but has basically just been, from what I can see, being cast out by the business that he's worked, like I said, over decades to build. To him, mate, we're with you. We love you. We respect you. And we're here for you. All over the country. Because we know who you are as an individual, as an operator, as a businessman, as a mate. All right? Team, do us a favor. Reach out to a friend and check out that they're all right. Ask them to give themselves a score out of 10. And then continue the conversation from there. Team, stay safe, stay healthy, but for the love of God, stay happy.